Hello, everyone. Back again to my channel. This is Mary Esther Miranda Gilbert of the True Health Mastery Institute of Holistic Personal Health Management. Welcome back. New people arriving to the channel who've never been here before. Welcome. Hope you love what you hear about tonight. And also, I hope you explore the other videos because it's a whole goldmine of nutritional health information that is truly life-saving. All right, so here I am with my wonderful members of the True Health Mastery Institute, and tonight we'll be talking about NSAIDs and aspirin. Last week we talked about the other anti-inflammatory, right? So tonight I will introduce even more science behind the problems associated with these over-the-counter drugs, and I'll offer some natural solutions as always. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so let me make sure we are all in the same view here. Yeah, we are. And for some reason, I don't have it set up in the right place. Ah, here we go. I wasn't sharing. That's why. All right, here we go. All right, so now, so I'll try to get through this fast within the hour because I like to talk to the Institute members afterwards, after the recording is off. And if you're ever here as a guest, then you're welcome to stay after the recording too. It's usually reserved for members, but if you're here as a guest, you get 2 free passes, and that's when we invite you to join. But for tonight, let me go ahead and get started here. So what I'll be covering is the NSAIDs and their horrific impact on health and their side effects. And also, I'll be covering the harmful effects of aspirin. I'm going to go over the causes of chronic inflammation and also show you safe alternatives, the anti-inflammatory phytochemical compounds in Earth's botanicals, God's gift to us, and the healing anti-inflammatory diet that I put people on whenever they have any kind of inflammatory condition in their body. All right, so now let's talk about the NSAIDs, the serious impact on health. NSAIDs induce organ damage. The data from multiple placebo-controlled trials and meta-analyses studies alarmingly signify the adverse effects of NSAIDs in the gastrointestinal, cardiovascular, hepatic or liver, renal or kidneys, cerebral and pulmonary complications. So they have an effect on the whole body. Most NSAIDs are major derivatives of various acids, and despite their interclass diversity, their functions are relatively similar. So we've got different kinds of NSAIDs that are produced, in the medical system. So we've got ones that have salicylic acid. That's a naturally occurring, actually a phytochemical compound in the phenolic classification in certain plants like white willow bark, green tea leaves, and I'll name others too that contain this wonderful natural component that is a painkiller in plants. So some people cannot take salicylic acid, and I'll explain why later when we go into the aspirin. Acetic acid is also, it's a byproduct of fermentation. It gives vinegar that characteristic odor. So acetic acid is relatively safe as well. And then there's some that are composed of enolic acid. That's an organic compound that inhibits the inflammatory enzymes, the COX-1 and COX-2. These cyclooxygenase 1 and 2 are the body's responses to inflammation. And if the immune system isn't on top of things, which usually results from lack of nourishment, nutrient deficiencies over time. So when the immune system has been compromised that way, then it cannot turn off the inflammatory response. So that's when you have the autoimmune disorders and things like that. There's also anthranilic acid, and it's an aromatic compound used as an intermediate in the production of dyes, pharmaceuticals, perfumes, and it's known for its use in synthesizing insect repellents and other chemicals. So that's not something that you want to put in your body, because if it's going to be used as a chemical for producing products that are not nutrient based, then that's not something that should be in the body at all. It will cause inflammation itself. So there's propionic acid, I should say propionic acid, of food and feed preservatives. So we don't also need preservatives. Preservatives are generally so that something doesn't decompose. And for an NSAID, there's nothing alive in there that would decompose it. Although it is, of course, it will have the degenerative process that happens to chemicals over time. So drugs usually have an expiration date, right? So NSAIDs are mostly used on patients suffering from pain and inflammation, like chronic pain, osteoarthritis, post-operative surgery, menstrual cramps, and as a pain reliever or analgesic, or as a fever reducer, an antipyretic. So NSAIDs are cytotoxic. That means they're damaging to the cell. And these are compounds that are well known for the multiple severe side effects, including gastrointestinal toxicities, cardiovascular damage, and these are linked to an increased risk of atherothrombotic vascular events. So when you have a hardening of the arteries and something breaks loose and starts circulating in the body, then you're very much in danger of heart attack or stroke. So that's what they call an atherothrombotic vascular event. Also, meta and randomized trials, these are different kinds of scientific trials, have confirmed these events led to the withdrawal of several types of NSAIDs by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. So also the kidney injuries, toxicity and renal failure, hepatotoxicity, liver toxicity, hypertension or high blood pressure. They have transient effects on water and electrolyte balance. So these are not something that just automatically will reduce pain and not cause any damage. They do, in fact, cause much damage in the body systems. So the NSAIDs, they cause the mitochondrial problems. So the mitochondria inside of your cells are the energy producing factories. And so they also have an effect on their functioning. So they can actually damage them and totally destroy the mitochondria. And once that organelle is destroyed, and any organelle in the cell, by the way, once they are destroyed, then the cell, just goes into cell death. So here's a little diagram of the beneficial health effects versus the detrimental side effects of the NSAIDs. So there is a cost-benefit trade-off, but what is the cost? It is your health. That's a major cost-benefit trade-off. So on the left here, you see beneficial health effects. There are anti-inflammatories, they reduce fevers, they reduce pain, anti-neoplastic effects, so they won't allow tumors to form. That's research, by the way, is still up in the air. There's conflicting, results in the scientific community as to what they're finding about that. And it's not a be all and end all as an anti-cancer kind of drug. Okay, so don't even go there, please. It's not considered an anti-cancer protocol. So also anti-thrombotic actions and anti-arthritic effects. So it will dissolve plaques according to the science. How effectively that happens depends on so many other factors that are going on in the body. Anti-arthritic effects, but does that mean that it's building new tissues so that the nervous system isn't signaling you anymore, telling you something is wrong? So when something is wrong in the body, then it tells you in the form of pain. That's what the nervous system is for. It just activates these pain reactions so that you know something is wrong. But as far as rebuilding new tissues to find the root cause or help and alleviate the root cause of all of these joint problems, then it's not going to be the same thing at all. So, we've got all kinds of reasons the medical industry wants to use this kind of drug. And so that's what the pharmacore modification and drug repurposing aspects are. It's just this below the cost benefit of using the NSAIDs. And of course, you've got a cartilage depletion, and as a person is has undergone surgery, then that's going to not particularly help that at all, because it reduces those kinds of tissues. Reduce platelet aggregation, yeah, it will prevent some clotting, but the best way to prevent clotting is to not let it happen in the first place, which means complete and correct nourishment so that they don't form at all. right? So now we've got the detrimental side effects, the gross ones, gastrointestinal complications, liver problems, kidney problems, cardiovascular problems, brain complications, respiratory tract issues. So, you know, I'm going to offer and show you the anti-inflammatory botanicals that scientists have discovered that have so many pain relieving and healing properties. So that's the key. They're both pain relieving while they're nourishing the cells to help them function properly, which translates into regeneration and repair of the cells. Now, the medical system likes to call that healing. They know that the body is going to heal itself, right? But behind all of that healing, there has to be a full range of micro and essential nutrients so that the cells can go to work and do that repair process. So here's another fun little diagram. I love to borrow what the scientists have drawn up for us. So really quick, we talked about the gastro and mucosal. Actually, no, we haven't talked about that yet. The gastrointestinal tract and the mucosal membranes in the digestive tract to protect, the tissues from being consumed by their own stomach acids. So we need to have a certain amount of mucosa or mucus forming in the intestinal tract. So the popularly used representative of NSAIDs, now they're talking about the mucosal injury, right? And then they talk about the respiratory tract complications that happen and the intracerebral hemorrhages that happen in the brain, and also prevention of thrombosis, cardiovascular injury, so there's more than one way to prevent thrombosis, and you have to start it before it even begins to clot the arteries, right? So that's what preventive nourishment does, and this is what I like to give information about to everyone. Cardiovascular injury. So we do not want to damage the tissues at the cellular level. And also it does a lot of the liver injury as well, and the kidney injuries as well. So those of you who are members, then of course you have access to this document and all the links for further study, and you'll be able to examine this much more closely if you want. Alrighty, so other botanicals and their mitochondrial protective mechanisms. Let's talk about how NSAIDs damage the energy-producing organelles known as the mitochondria inside of our cells. So they contain anti-inflammatory phytochemical complexes, or these phytochemicals that are present in whole food plants, known to neutralize these harmful, damaging molecules called free radicals that prevent oxidative stress and cell damage. So anytime you have oxidative stress, that means there's a degenerative process going on that is reducing the functioning of a cell or a molecule in the body. So these botanicals will protect against that from happening. So they also aid in the building of new mitochondria called biogenesis, thereby increasing the overall mitochondrial metabolic actions, which is the energy producing factories. That's how our cells, our multiple trillions of cells are fueled by the nutrients that the cells absorb and are utilized in the mitochondria to generate energy. Our cells require energy to work, to keep us alive, to keep us going perpetually. So all of these trillions of actions that are going on in our cells, we're not even aware of. So then there's the plant compounds that modulate the mitochondrial energy production, and they improve how the cells produce energy. So here's a quick picture. A lot of you who have seen my videos before, I like to use this picture of a typical cell. Now, every cell in every system looks different, but when a cell is depicted in the body, then they have this nice round little cell. And so it looks really nice. But inside of our cells, once the nutrients enter the inside of the cell, we have these mitochondria. And there's this is a very simplistic picture. There's like millions of these inside of our cells. So, we just have to pick a snapshot of what goes on inside the cell. So here we have the DNA inside the cell nucleus, and the protein manufacturing sites that process and repackage and repurpose all these molecules that enter the system. And then we have the mitochondria. So a blow up of the mitochondria. Looks like a little boat or some kind of a baby carriage. I don't know. But so these are the energy producing factories, and they've got the envelope that has the inner part of the mitochondria. That's all these energy producing factories that are going on. So the NSAIDs will go in and they'll destroy this. And once that's destroyed, then the cell can't produce energy, not even for its own biochemical or biological processes. So here's some botanicals that have been shown to protect the mitochondria to make sure we keep going and produce energy efficiently and effectively to keep the body healthy. So turmeric is very famous. There's so much research connected to turmeric. It contains a polyphenol called curcumin. Some of you might have seen that marketed, in the supplements industry just as curcumin. But you have all the other phytochemical components that make a plant whole. Curcumin is just one of them, but it's been studied a lot. So this is what the science shows. It's a very powerful polyphenol with strong antioxidant properties. So it protects the cell from being destroyed or damaged. And it protects the mitochondria by inactivating the stress chemical the body produces under inflammation called reactive oxygen species, or ROS, and therefore reduces the mitochondrial membrane damage. All right, so we don't want to damage the membranes. Once the membranes are damaged, then everything else becomes, damaged as well. So ROS is a highly reactive, unstable signaling molecule that's formed from oxygen involved in cellular processes. So any kind of cellular biochemical process, biological process that goes on in our cells, and these are multiple trillions of processes, then if there's inflammation, then ROS is formed to deal with that inflammation. But if there's something wrong with the immune system, then that ROS can run rampant. So that's when you have all kinds of other inflammatory proteins flooding the system to signal you that something is wrong, something is wrong, something is wrong, right? So if that keeps going on and on, the only way to fix that is to provide the nutrients the body needs to repair that so that it doesn't have the rampant, runaway inflammation that happens in the body. So green tea, it contains another wonderful phytochemical called epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG, which protects and maintains mitochondria's adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. I love these long scientific terms. They're so much fun to pronounce. But for short is AMPK. So it's an energy, it helps the energy producing pathways, and it plays vital roles in regulating your metabolism, or how efficiently your body uses nutrients to produce energy and do its repair and regenerative perpetual aliveness work. Rosemary is rich in various antioxidants that offer neuroprotective effects. They protect the nerves, cells, and help improve mitochondrial function, which promote brain health. So rosemary has many, these plants, I'm giving you a teeny tiny microscopic snapshot of what these wonderful plants do. Picking out certain plants that reduce inflammation. There are literally thousands upon thousands of them all over the planet, in our everyday foods and in medicinal, plants that other health systems in other countries have used for thousands of years. So the science has been very busy for the last couple of hundred years, proving that these plants do indeed have these regenerative, repairing, health recovering kind of compounds in them. So rosemary is very rich in all kinds of antioxidants that protect the nerves and help improve the energy producing functioning of the mitochondria, and also protect the brain. The ginseng is shown to boost mitochondrial metabolism or respiration. Every cell absorbs nutrients, processes nutrients, and throws off what's not needed. So it's got like a digestive system, just like our macro system in our digestion has. So we've got, respiration, meaning taking in oxygen and throwing off carbon dioxide and other, natural side effects of, or not side effects, just the waste, metabolic waste that every cell has. So it also improves the cell's tolerance of oxidative stress, and it benefits the heart. So, this is a very, like I said, a very, very small and very, just summary of what these plants do. Now, my book, Potent Superfoods for Lifelong True Health, which I'll show you how to order it in a moment, contains 109 botanicals, and I did months and months of research to produce these scientific monographs that describe what these botanicals do. And there's so much research, and I had to truly summarize all of the research that I found on every single one of these botanicals in that book that I'm showing you a little glimpse of here. So there is so much research behind all of these, and they really do address so many different issues that our bodies need to repair itself and perpetuate and stay healthy and stay optimally functional. So, okay, so the ginseng, it's great for so many things, but I just named a few things here as it applies to the pain and inflammation, anti-inflammatory, anti-pain kind of foods. So ashwagandha root is also found to enhance energy levels. It aids the mitochondrial energy production and strengthens the body resistance to resilience against stress. So how much stress is your body able to take? Not only physically, but also mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We are bombarded every single day with all of these problems and things that cause worry and stress reactions, right? So these botanicals contain all the nourishment you need to maintain a calmer immune system, to maintain hormone balance so that you can look at life a lot more calmly and be much more able to solve problems, right, in our lives, or not react to the stress and just stay calmer through the whole thing. So that's ashwagandha, among many things, that's what it's great for. And now we have a rhodiola rosea. That's actually the common name. There are many common names for this botanical, but it's also known to aid mitochondria energy production. And this is what the scientific literature has been studying. So there's certain plants that the science and the scientific communities all over the world have chosen to study more in depth. And of course, they have studied thousands of them, but these are just a few that, as it applies to, like I said, reducing inflammation and healing the root problem of that inflammation. So it aids mitochondrial energy production, and energy is the key. We need to produce energy to fix everything in the body, to maintain everything that goes on in the body. So it supports or helps attenuate the body's stress response. It helps fight fatigue and enhances endurance. So fatigue and endurance go hand in hand, or not being tired and having a lot of endurance. That means your body's highly nourished, because then you'll have the energy to deal with things and to exercise. Most of the food that we take in, all the nutrients we take in, are to maintain our metabolism in the whole body. But you have to have enough energy to exercise, because exercise has so many health benefits and it fixes a lot of problems. And also, you need the endurance. How long can you go during your exercise periods without feeling so wiped out and so discouraged and not getting anywhere? So there's so many plants on the planet that will help with that. But the rhodiola rosea, that's what the scientists report. So now we've got resveratrol. That's one of the wonderful phytochemical compounds that are found in the skins of all the berries, the red grapes, the strawberries, blueberries, cranberries, bilberries, mulberries, mouth-watering already, right? Blackberries and lingonberries, red currants, and also other foods like walnuts and apple, pear, peaches, tangerines, oranges, the citrus ones, grapefruit and cherry. And there's other berries, that I just thought of, the Chinese goji berry. That's another one. So there are so many berries. So usually they have this resveratrol, which has been found to help reduce inflammation, detoxify the organs, and help regenerate the cells by helping the mitochondria produce energy. So if you want to have more energy, include more raw plant foods in your diet. You'll be surprised. So pomegranate also, it contains all kinds of compounds that are found to trigger the creation of new healthy mitochondria. Again, generating new mitochondria that our cells need to regenerate their own inner organelles too. So this increases the total energy producing mitochondrial capacity. Okay, now I'm just going to give you a short kind of overview of more anti-inflammatory phytochemical compounds that are found in the plant kingdom and our plant foods that actually protect the mitochondria and its energy production. So I tried to enlarge it. It was such a small print, and I couldn't enlarge it because until I broke up the table into like a smaller table, but then I enlarged the smaller table so that you could see it. I hope everyone can see this. So the category, the flavonoid category, it has many, many subcategories. So, here we are in the second column here under flavonoids. So these are the different types of flavonoids. Okay, and these are known to help the blood vessels, the heart functioning, the blood vessels in the heart, the brain. So all of these wonderful compounds are known to make sure the heart and the brain are well protected. So then they show, the live subjects that they were tested on. Some of them are humans, some of them are animal rodents. And then we have the in vitro models in the laboratory where they cultivate cells and they see how they react to different kinds of diseased cells. So they're called the generations of cells or cell cultures. They're called in vitro. So, there's two ways to test things out. One is on real live subjects, and the other is in the laboratory with these cell cultures, generation upon generation. Some of these cells are, years and years old, but they are great test subjects because there's nothing inhumane about it, and they get similar results. So then we've got the effects, right? The flavonoids in this case, for this particular flavonoid acetylsin, it's got mitochondrial dynamics promotion, apoptosis inhibition, so it prevents damaged cells from happening, reduces the ROS, and it helps with the adenosine triphosphate, or the unit of energy that the mitochondrial produces. So everything is based on how much ATP we can produce in our cells. So, here's, like I said, members, you can just peruse this later on and you can tell all the different things that these flavonoids do in the body. Pretty much some of them overlap, but we have different phytochemical compounds, as you can see, that play various roles. And in synergy, they are very powerful. So then we've got the phenolics, so they're naming all the different classifications under the phenolics or polyphenols. Same thing. You've seen some of these. We talked about the resveratrol and the curcumin. So they affect in a positive way the heart, the kidney, the brain, the blood vessels. So all of these things too. So, again, it's a lot about the mitochondrial. It's all about how much energy the cells can produce to fuel all of these trillions of processes to keep us alive and thriving. Alkaloids and the terpenoids, as you can see, again, they're all based on how well they help our cells produce energy. Alrighty, so now let's go on to aspirin. So the medical uses and harmful effects of aspirin versus natural anti-inflammatory foods. And I say foods because we don't want to isolate compounds out of our foods. That does not have the same effect as the synergistic, ability of foods, as you can see up here that I covered here. There's so many different plant compounds that act together to make sure that these organ systems are functioning properly. So, yeah, whole foods is the best way to go. Early medicines containing salicylic acid, one of the pain-relieving components of plants, were derived from willow bark. So they were recognized as anti-fever, anti-pain, and anti-inflammatories. So other plant foods containing salicylates, the foods we can buy at a grocery store. If not, we can order them online, vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cucumber, mushrooms, radishes, spinach, zucchini, eggplant, peppers, sweet potato, okay, fruits, berries, especially raspberries and blueberries, apples, grapes, dates, dried fruits, tomatoes, avocado. It's making me hungry. Herbs and spices, turmeric, paprika, thyme, coriander, cumin. It's better just to eat the turmeric. Excuse me, cumin is different. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up for a second. Cumin is a different plant. Fenugreek, rosemary, dandelion, yarrow, wintergreen, meadowsweet, birch tree, and willow bark. All of these are the forms of teas and spices that you can just flavor your food and spice up your teas, and even create a somewhat medicinal tea that other medical systems in other countries will term when they put together different botanicals. Green tea, black tea, they're famous for their anti-inflammatory components in those plants. Nuts and seeds, always refrigerate your raw seeds. Don't buy roasted, salted, sweetened nuts and seeds. Buy them raw. Make sure the package says that it hasn't been irradiated or heat processed. Sometimes you'll see an organic package of nuts and they look great, but when you look closely at the label, it'll say they've been heated. So do not heat any of your plant oils, which are the nuts and seeds and other oils that are high in omega-3s. I have a whole nother video on the right fats and the wrong fats. So please, if you want to know more about the types of essential oils that are going into your body that benefit your health in so many ways, then please view that video. So nuts and seeds, always refrigerate them in airtight containers. They're very reactive to oxygen. Once they start reacting to oxygen, they start getting this oxidation and they can become carcinogenic or cancer causing. So we don't want what the layperson term is, we don't want rancid oils in our bodies. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, always refrigerate, and please buy organic. If you're not going to buy organic in any other thing, try to buy as many organic botanicals that are listed here so that you don't have to your body doesn't have to deal with all those pesticides and toxic sprays. I have another video on that too, so please explore my YouTube channel. All right, and raw honey. Okay, so I'm going to put raw here, which I didn't catch when I was preparing the document, because you want to have raw organic honey. You want those bees to have traveled, they travel about 5 miles from their hives. And if you have honeybees in a region where it's been sprayed by pesticides, then it's not going to be organic honey, is it? And you want raw because the raw honey, now I have a video on sweeteners too. So please view that video. You'll be surprised how amazing raw honey, organic honey really is. So, it's also been shown to help reduce pain because of all the plant chemicals that the bees pollinate, from these plants, these flowers. They'll carry it back to the hive. So the honey is very highly concentrated in this wonderful array of phytochemicals that are so beneficial. So aspirin is used internationally for various applications, particularly for cardiovascular disease. It's been proposed and is being studied for treatment options in other conditions like diabetes mellitus, that's the type 2, the most common form, usually adult onset, sometimes child onset, cancer prevention, obstetrics. Now, again, I have to stress, the research studies are not numerous enough yet to come to any conclusions as to that being the be-all and end-all for treating these conditions. Some people may not benefit due to what is thought to be possible aspirin resistance. So, that's been cropping up too in the scientific literature that I hadn't seen before. Researchers studying the mechanisms of action in aspirin found it inhibited the production of prostaglandins, which are the lipid mediators, the fatty acid mediators in the body, resulting in a multitude of new applications for cardiovascular disease, preeclampsia, and cancer prevention. So the aspirin continues to be studied for all these possibilities. So a prostaglandin function, it means that it promotes inflammation by causing vasodilation, opening up the blood vessels, pain, and fever. Contribute to bone resorption. That's when tissue is broken down, bone tissue is broken down and absorbed into the bloodstream. So that can result in decreased bone density once the minerals leave, especially calcium leaves the bone matrix, increased risk of bone fractures, loss of teeth, and changes in facial structure. So as someone ages and they're not exercising, they're not taking in the right nutrients, and their bones are starting to deteriorate, they get more and more calcium in the blood or other minerals circulating in the blood. It affects the hormonal system. So then the glandular system is affected as well in many detrimental ways. So you've got all these imbalances going on in the body, hormonal imbalances, things like that. So you want to make sure that you are taking in the right types of foods, the right types of nutrients that will replenish these nutrients, not something that will take away, from your body, especially your bones. So aspirin is associated with hemorrhagic adverse events at an increased risk of hemorrhagic strokes. We're talking about gastrointestinal bleeding, intracranial and extracranial bleeding inside and outside of the brain, the skull, can create thrombotic events. That's a blood clot or a thrombus inside a blood vessel blocking blood flow. Once it breaks loose, then it can lead to a stroke or heart attack if it's going to block a significant amount of blood, trying to pulse through the blood vessels. Patients receiving aspirin within 7 days of surgery were at higher risk of blood loss. All right, so whether or not to use aspirin on patients undergoing surgery presents a very difficult decision to the surgeons, the medical doctors, given the increased risk of post-procedural bleeding from wound sites, after surgery, and moderate to severe complications. So, this internal bleeding going on, is not a good thing, right? A scientific review on the use of enteric-coated aspirin concluded that it did not show any reduced risk of gastrointestinal bleeding or ulceration. So, they try to get it past the stomach so it doesn't break down in the stomach and cause stomach bleeding, but it really doesn't help the intestines either once the coating has been dissolved. Serious complications from upper gastrointestinal bleeding and perforation is a continuous problem. It's a real dilemma in the operating room. Should they use aspirin or not? Since 1997, mortality rates from gastrointestinal complications have continued to increase in both aspirin and NSAID users, say the peer-reviewed scientific studies. So let's talk about the causes of inflammation. The body's inflammatory responses or inflammation is a defense mechanism. The immune system detects, it recognizes, and removes harmful and foreign substances, which then stimulates the healing process. Now, if we can get that far to actually remove these foreign substances, then you have a very highly functioning immune system that's right on it. It nips it in the bud. And then if there's any damage, then and if you're highly nourished, then you can, the body initiates the healing process. So acute inflammation, trauma-induced tissue damage, microbial invasion, noxious compounds. So, if you are injured, then you're going to have trauma-induced tissue damage. If you are exposed to microbials and you're not nourished enough to have a more intelligent immune system to recognize and right away work to eliminate, mobilize all the white blood cells to come along and get rid of these microbial invasions, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and microscopic parasites, and also noxious compounds, something that's synthetic. If you're breathing in noxious fumes or exposed to synthetic chemicals all the time, they can result in acute inflammation over time. So we've got chronic or slow long-term inflammation that lasts for long periods of time, for several months to years, and that's because of failure to eliminate the cause of the infectious organisms that keep remaining in the tissues, keep populating in the tissues, exposure to an irritant or foreign material that's inhaled or cannot be broken down by enzymes, or the immune system's phagocytosis, the eating up of molecules that don't belong in the body, such as industrial chemicals or silica dust or other, hazardous things in the workplace or these factories. Autoimmune disorders such as rheumatoid arthritis or systemic lupus erythematosus. So these are when the immune system can no longer recognize what's supposed to be there and what isn't, starts attacking its own healthy tissues. Mitochondrial dysfunctions such as increased production of free radical molecules like ROS, and all of these other enzymes that are there to flood in when there's an injury, but to dissipate when the healing process takes place. So sometimes there's just way too much overproduction of these free radicals that cause the inflammatory process. Symptoms of chronic inflammation, that includes, body pain, arthralgia, pain in the joints, myalgia, pain in the muscles, chronic fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, and mood disorders affecting the glandular system and the nervous system, gastrointestinal problems like constipation or diarrhea and acid reflux, all of these problems, weight gain or weight loss, frequent infections. If you're constantly getting infections, then that's something serious that you need to address. So let me show you. So let me just go ahead and go over these. Conditions that reflect or promote a state of chronic or acute inflammation, they show an increase in inflammatory biomarkers. So these are like the cytokine, inflammatory proteins, the ROS. There are so many that the body produces, but these are the most common and these are the most, named out there when someone refers to inflammation. So anytime you have a condition in the body that's abnormal, that things are not functioning, there's a system breakdown, then you're going to have these conditions, right? Diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular, Alzheimer's, arthritis and joint diseases, allergies, allergic asthma, COPD, mitochondrial dysfunction, an increase in visceral body fat. That's body fat that forms around your organs. It's sure we store body fat under the skin, but there's also a lot of fat that forms that you cannot see around your organs. Obesity and metabolic syndrome. So metabolic syndrome is a group of symptoms like obesity, heart disease, cancer, all kinds of inflammatory problems that is just lumped together called metabolic syndrome. So diet consisting of trans fats and refined sugars, the wrong types of fats that cause more health issues than anything else, and refined sugars. So again, there's a video on this channel. Please, if you haven't found out about the wrong fats and the right fats, and the wrong sugars and the right sugars, there's two different videos, one about the wrong fats and the right fats, and the other video is about the right kinds of carbohydrates. Okay, inflammatory bowel disease, chronic kidney disease. Some studies show that the body mass index, or the BMI, correlates with the amount of pro-inflammatory cytokines that are secreted. Now, your body mass index is put out by the government, and it shows this chart about your height and your body weight and what your ideal weight should be. So it shows whether you are overweight, obese, or underweight. So the body mass index is very important. It's not perfect. And there are exceptions, like someone who is massively muscular is going to show as overweight on this chart. And someone who is a long distance runner is going to show underweight in the chart, So yeah, people who are engaged in long distance running, they do have to watch their weight. In other words, keep eating high quality, high calorie foods so that you don't waste away, right? You have to recuperate from these massively long runs or other extreme sports. So smoking, low levels of testosterone and estrogen. Again, it's the imbalance of hormones and lack of exercise that imbalances these hormones, lack of nutrients that will contribute to the right balance of hormones. Physical and emotional stress, that takes its toll. The body produces all these inflammatory stress chemicals when you're under physical and emotional stress. Irregular sleep schedules leading to sleep disorders. All of these are signs that there is rampant inflammation in the body. Once you nourish your body and the body can finally get a hold on this inflammation, then your body can revert back to restoring the cellular processes that will alleviate many of these health problems. Chronic inflammation is a key factor in almost all chronic degenerative diseases, say this group of scientists. So, steps to replace and avoid NSAIDs and aspirin. Eliminate consumption of inflammatory foodstuff, the Frankenstein foods, the Frankenfoods. These are the ones that are the culprits with 99% of the health issues out there. The other percent is, nutrient deficiencies. But of course, these foodstuffs, this Franken stuff, will deplete the body of the minerals in your bones, in circulating in your blood. And so, all these organ systems and structures and fluids in your body, they require a regular intake of vitamins and minerals and raw food enzymes and phytochemical complexes that we've named here tonight. They all should be present in the body every single day. If not, then these types of Franken things are going to destroy you. They are going to make you degenerate into the disease process and worse. So take a look at what you're putting in your body, read the labels, stick to the peripheral side, peripheral area, the perimeter, of the grocery stores, so that you can buy only fresh foods that are freshly harvested or animal-derived foods that are freshly slaughtered, freshly milked, whatever the animal food derived source is. But put a lot of raw foods and organic is ideal because they have more phytochemicals in them and they have higher amounts of the essential minerals, which are so key to your health as well. So you can counter a lot of these, bad effects of the body, but eliminating them is definitely the best way to go. Genetically modified organisms, changing the genetic codes of the plant foods that we eat, that also has been shown to cause many, many types of disease conditions in the body. All right, so intake of anti-inflammatory foods and essential nutrients. Okay, here are, we already mentioned a lot of things, but just the whole grains, the whole vegetable kingdom, all the leafy greens, all the fresh and dried herbs, and that includes some teas, fruits and berries, and also if you're going to have the any animal-derived protein, which the fish category in my food system, nutritional synergy, is included in as an animal-derived food because they are complete proteins, complete amino acid content in these types of foods. So if you're going to have seafood at all, do not take any other seafood other than the fish that is caught in the Alaskan waters, the Arctic fish only. They have a lot less of the synthetic chemicals, pollutants that also pollute the body and cause so many health issues. Okay, you don't want toxicity in the body either. So we've got Alaskan fish oil. You can always purchase that online as well if you don't want to eat the fish. But choosing fish from the Arctic is going to give you a lot of the essential amino acids and the fatty acids as well. So always refrigerate your Alaskan fish oil. Any kind of oil, plant oil, fish oil, always refrigerate in airtight containers and use within 30 days of purchase. So use up those supplements and make sure that you take all of your supplements. You don't want them to be prolonged, and in the refrigerator to start deteriorating. You don't want that at all. You want to keep them fresh in your body. Organic, lean, pasture-fed beef and organic poultry, organic free-range eggs. There's different kinds of eggs. There's pasture-raised, right? Those are the best ones, especially if they're organic because they're not fed any genetically modified feed or anything like that, or they're not shot up with hormones or, antibiotics or anything like that. So you want them free-range, pasture-raised eggs. I'm going to include the word pasture range. That's what I meant, free range. Okay, same thing, free range, pasture range. All right. Foods rich in the minerals, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. So these are just a few of the major minerals that the body needs, but you need the full spectrum of the minerals. Don't go out and buy these individual minerals, because they won't be the right form. Molecularly speaking, your body will not be able to absorb them and utilize them. So please buy organically raised or grown whole foods that contain the full spectrum of all these vitamins and minerals. That way, you're getting everything in the right balance and in the right amounts. Okay, so foods rich in vitamin E and vitamin D3. The fatty foods usually have like the avocado, and the apricots and other fruits that are rich in these essential oils or excuse me, fatty acids, essential fatty acids, and then vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is formed outside in sunlight. Even a few minutes of sunlight several times a week will let your body form vitamin D3 under the skin and store it there all winter long. So, you don't have to worry about you're not getting your vitamin D3 sun exposure in the wintertime. As long as you get plenty of sunshine in the warmer months, you'll be fine. You can also buy it in supplement form. Resveratrol phytochemical compound is found in the grapes, berries, and dark chocolate. I don't know if about you, but I am a chocolate fan. I don't eat the bad chocolate. I did do a video on the good chocolate and the bad chocolate. So please, if you love chocolate, make sure you watch that video. All right, more sleep, less stress. Longer periods of sleep stimulate human growth hormones and testosterone that help the body build new cells. Women need testosterone too, just need them in the right balance. So testosterone is what keeps us calm and rational. Okay, we have too much the other female hormones in us, then we're going to be too emotional and we're not going to be able to think straight. We're going to fly off the handle more easily. Our moods are going to fluctuate. So we need a balance of all the different kinds of hormones. The only way to do that is to get out in the sun, because the D3 is the precursor to all these different hormones, to balance your hormones, but also these wonderful plants. They contain the right fats, the right phytochemicals that are known to nourish your glands that produce the hormones. So you want them all in balance, all about the ecological balance inside your biological terrain, inside your body. Chronic stress is linked to a higher risk for depression, heart disease, reduced ability to regulate inflammatory responses, compromised defenses. Exercise is important for alleviating stress-induced inflammation. When you exercise, your body goes into this whole other realm of metabolism. It will utilize nutrients so much more efficiently, put them where they're needed. If you are not exercising, then your circulatory system becomes really stagnant and toxic, and then things start breaking down. But when you're exercising, you are circulating everything. Everything is circulating. You're respirating, you're inhaling. I mean, all these cleansing things go on in the body, and your body responds if you're well nourished. Between your workouts, between your exercise sessions, if you're well nourished, then your body will get stronger and more fit and more efficient, and the metabolism will be higher and more efficient. So regular exercise, now human clinical trials show that regular exercise lowers multiple pro-inflammatory molecules and cytokines. These are the inflammatory proteins. Adipose tissue in overweight or obese individuals leads to low-grade systemic inflammation. Decreases the risk of cardiovascular disease, strengthens the heart, bones, and muscles. So regular exercise will strengthen everything. If you're highly nourished, if you replenish between your workouts, that's the key. So here's my book I was talking about. So it's got talk about anti-inflammatory activities of all these different phytochemical compounds in the plant kingdom in these whole functional foods. You can get information from all of the botanicals that most of them, 99% of the botanicals that we covered here tonight, and then some, 109 of them. There is another second edition coming along, or I should say volume two coming along with 150 more botanicals that are in the works in the future, not the near future. I've got other writing projects going on, but this one, it will give you a huge head start. It's one of those thick desk references that you'll refer to for the rest of your life. I just pulled all of the peer-reviewed scientific research, all the most credible science in the world, and put it all in one book for 109 botanicals. So you'll know more than most people out there. Not very many people out there will have such a volume that will, it's a go-to reference. So anytime you have any kind of an ailment, whether you feel like you're being malnourished, your health is being compromised due to nutrient deficiencies, these plant compounds are so important. They should be called essential nutrients, but they're not. But they're just as important as the vitamins and minerals. Okay, so and again, if you go to my website, you can order this book, holisticchoices.com. It will be in the description below this video, but also it's in this document, so you'll be able to have a video of it. All right, so getting on here, we just have a few more minutes left. Dietary factors, roles in mental disorders and neurodegenerative diseases, any kind of breakdown in the nervous system. So there's emerging evidence that suggests reduced risk of psychosis and improved outcomes in healthy diets, though the science has been very busy at work showing the correlations between a healthy diet and how it affects one's mental health. So I'm not a medical doctor. I am not prescribing, treating, or diagnosing. I am showing you what years and years of scientific research throughout the world, peer-reviewed studies, the ultimate in credibility in science, has put together and provided reports for us to show the correlations between a healthy diet and mental issues. So these are the points that I pulled out from the science. Dietary factors play a role in mental disorders and managing symptoms. A higher quality diet reduced the likelihood of bipolar disorder. A link between dietary patterns and severity of somatic symptom disorder, a condition of persistent symptoms that cannot be explained by a medical health condition. A diet high in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Conversely, a diet high in processed foods and trans fats, the wrong fats, is associated with an increased risk and worse outcomes. So you know now what it does to the nervous system, what it does to the hormonal system. The whole system is in chaos when you're not highly nourished. Improved cognitive function of patients with schizophrenia and metabolic syndrome after 3 months of dietary intervention. Those without intervention did not experience a change. Dietary factors and metabolic abnormalities have been implicated in both risk and progression of bipolar disorder or schizophrenia. Dietary factors have been implicated in both risk and progression of Parkinson's disease. Again, neurodegenerative effects of missing nutrients. Meta-analysis revealed a diet high in antioxidant reduced the risk of PD, Parkinson's disease. Cohort studies show a higher risk of intake of fruits, vegetables, and fish Again, choose only Alaskan or Arctic caught fish that help protect against the Parkinson's. A 2-week dietary intervention study of 16 patients consuming anti-inflammatory foods improved the gut microbiome and allowed reduced medication use. So we have to keep the gut bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, healthy so that they can communicate with our brain. So we have this wonderful communication highway going on via the vagus nerve. It goes from the brain down to the gut. So we have to maintain a healthy diet in order to have a healthy population of beneficial microbials in there. Studies show that living a healthy lifestyle and eating a healthy diet improved cognitive function compared to those who did not. Thinking ability, reasoning ability, perception ability. Sugar and sweetened beverage have been shown to impair mental health. Studies found an association between the intake of sugar-sweetened beverages and an increase in the inflammatory C-reactive protein levels in the blood. So the meta-analysis, different kinds of scientific research studies, demonstrated that a high consumption of soft drinks is associated with an increased risk of depression. Imagine what that does to the nervous system and the hormonal system. Alcohol consumption, including red wine, has direct toxic effects on brain and other body cells. I'm going to be doing a whole nother study on alcohol in one of these Friday night calls coming up. Consumption of ultra-processed foods is associated with, what's an ultra-processed food? Anytime you take a whole food and you process the heck out of it and it ends up being something that's not even recognizable. You know, it could be a chip or any other kind of processed food. So it increases inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract due to consumption of these ultra-processed foods. Frankenfoods are potentially linked to depression and anxiety and mental health disorders. A reduced intake of dietary fiber and phytochemical compounds, those wonderful plant chemicals, phytonutrients, and a wide range of essential vitamin and mineral complexes are completely taken out of these foods. Foodstuffs, frankenfoods. An unhealthy, altered gut ecosystem populated with microbials that damage the gut tissues. These are the anaerobic microbials that cause illnesses and disease and promote various metabolic and gastrointestinal disorders and an inflammation-related disease conditions like inflammatory bowel disease. So the first thing you know, when someone has IBS, you have to tell them, stop the junk, clean up the diet, and gently detoxify. There's no such thing as a fast detox. That's too dangerous. All it does is dump more toxic things into the bloodstream. So you want to have a cleansing diet that gradually over time helps the body eliminate the toxic chemicals. That's another thing that these wonderful phytochemicals do that are in our plants. Every 10% increase of UPFs in the diet is an increased risk of developing irritable bowel syndrome by 12%. So every time you increase 10% amount of your diet with these frankenfoods, you're going to have more risk of having irritable bowel problems. All right, so here are the scientific references again, members. If you're not a member yet, then I will show you how to become a member. For $12.97 a month, you get valuable, invaluable, life-saving information like this every single week. And you have access to reports, all kinds of, I have a whole library in behind where the Institute members can access different articles that are there. All the videos are there as well, and then some. So, of course, my nutritional synergy course you can access through there, all kinds of wonderful perks. And like I said earlier, after the video is stopped, then we have even more conversations that can be more beneficial for their knowledge in mastering their health. So this is all about mastering your health, not being a victim of the system anymore. You don't have to be. You don't have to suffer like this anymore. Gather this knowledge and utilize it and try it out, and apply it to your life, and you will see how wonderful these health transformations can really be in your own body. All right, so these are the scientific references that I used throughout this presentation here. And of course, here's the Potent Superfoods book. You can click on this, or you can go to my website, holisticchoices.com. My nutritional synergy system is invaluable for learning how to eat right, what not to eat, and why, and all the different food categories that are in my system. Once you choose foods from all the categories, you will be automatically completely nourished. And it's been proven for 45 years. I've been using it and applying it to all kinds of ailments for my clients. If you want to get all fit and have more lean body mass and less body fat, then eating for physical power and stamina is good for you. If you are totally new to the concept of holistic nutrition and holistic health and true health mastery, then start out with the True Health Mastery book, and you will get it's a great primer and introduction to this whole system. And if you are interested in buying supplements, then this is a supplement little guide to guide you in what not to buy in supplements. All right, like I said, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe, and that way you'll get and tap that notification bell. You'll get notified for every single video that is put out every week on this channel. And I'm also on Rumble. All right, so now if you want to become a member, then you can go to the True Health Mastery Institute. I will take you there right now so you can see how easy it is. You go to holisticchoices.com, click on the True Health Mastery Institute link, and you will have an explanation and a total description of all the perks and all the advantages of being a member, mastering your health. And if you want to join, you can just click right there and secure your private membership right there, and you just sign up right there. And if you want to take the course, you can select that too. And if you want to see what's in the course, then you'll see all the different modules. Oops, I'm on the wrong place here, sorry. It has to go back to the other link, online course here. And it'll you can see the course description and all the different modules that are in the course. There are 15 modules, and you get a certificate of completion. You'll get a whole education on how to nourish your body and how to prevent so many health issues, most health issues. So you'll get nice and knowledgeable, and you'll be able to teach others and be the inspiration that other people are looking for. So yeah, you can get the whole thing, and this actually coincides with the Nutritional Synergy book. You can get the book and the course, or you can get one or the other, and you'll be pretty well educated. Okay, so going back here. Back to my document. Okay, so that's how you join. And if you want to take the course, I just showed you how to enroll in the course, and this will take you straight to it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing the video. I'll stop sharing the document here. So thank you so much out there, everyone, for joining us here tonight. We love having you come and visit us and see what it's all about. So if you really want to just drop by, every invite I send out is going out to everyone who has signed up, either as a member or using my contact form to opt in to my email list so that I can send out these invites every Friday or every Thursday. They go out every Thursday, and we have our Friday night lives every Friday night. So you're welcome to come join us. You get 2 free passes, and after that, we're going to ask you to join as a member. So after that, for now, you can just watch the videos that I put out there. But if you want that extra amount of education, extra amount of community, that we have here, then you're welcome to join us too. All right, that's it for now. Please like, share, subscribe, tap that notification bell, and I will see you in another video. All right, hold on, members.